Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Tina. I'm the Joy Oracle at Inner Delight, and I'm really thrilled to welcome you here to the magic of money and miracles. And whether you are listening to this live or whether you'll be listening to the replay, we are all connected in this amazing playing field that doesn't matter where we are in the world or what time we connect in there, it's all happening now. And that's been one of the amazing things that I've been experiencing in the Money and Miracles 40 Days program, that anyone who went through the original experiment and anyone who's gone through the program since and is going through it now, it is quite remarkable to notice how similar experiences come up for people at similar times throughout. So it's really fun. So let me just share a little bit about myself here as to what brought me here and a little outline as to what we're going to be doing here today. This is going to be an interactive gathering here where you're going to have the opportunity to experience a money breakthrough, a breakthrough around your mindset. Oftentimes, these things are so obvious to others, and when you're stuck in the middle of it yourself, as you know, it's not as easy. So, I want you to have a breakthrough in your mindset here today, in your energy, and how you feel and interact with and about money. So, yeah, last year, less than a year ago, I was on the beach. I'm in Australia, and I was feeling incredibly frustrated as I was having lots of conversations with amazing women around the world who were facilitating phenomenal breakthroughs in the lives of others, and yet when it came to themselves, there seemed to be a glitch in the receiving somehow. So I was getting curious and also feeling very frustrated, and decided there and then that something had to shift. And in that moment, it's like I got the idea for this experiment for 40 days. And we'll talk more about why 40 days in just a moment. So the content of that experiment, there were 33 women from around the world resonated with it and joined in the adventure. It turned into what is now the book and what is now the program. And it's absolutely amazing to me to see what is possible when we choose to show up for ourselves one day at a time, one step at a time. And you just never know where the next step may lead to. So at the end of last year, we ran a crowdfunding campaign, which, if anyone has ever undertaken a crowdfunding campaign, it is a phenomenal experiment and experience in opening to ask for money for others to support your dream becoming real. And it was an amazing experience, and Money and Miracles crowd campaign was successful and led to us having the book available now. And it also brought attention to different people around the world who were seeing what was going on here and getting curious about what this was about. And you're seeing a message that I muted myself. No, but you can't. If my sound is, let's see here. It seems to be okay here. So I don't know if you're hearing me okay. Anyway, we'll keep going. Hopefully it'll come over on the recording. Okay, so we had the lots of different opportunities show up, and the content of the Money and Miracles was led into an online platform, and that's actually what is available now. So we have amazing women from around the world who are going through the content of these 40 days, different topics that are like a thread of a tapestry that contains your money story. And it is absolutely amazing to experience how these threads start to become undone. And for some ladies, it may be one thread, and that is what releases the whole obstacles to you stepping into freedom with money and miracles. And for others, it has been a combination, or it's like you go through each of the days and it's like compound interest. It builds on each other. And before you know it, things start to open up in ways that you may not have had awareness on before, and suddenly things start to make sense. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm very passionate about coaching other passionate women entrepreneurs how to prioritize themselves in their business and their personal life. And part of that includes transforming your relationship with money. Because as I am sure you know, it is not so much about money as it is about the stories that have been projected onto it unconsciously, where you may be holding out or hiding out. And because it's unconscious, you're not aware of it. And so, unless a lot of these things are cleared and released, which is what we do in the 40-day program, then they will keep on sabotaging you. And you know how that plays out. So, the other fun thing is that I started discovering the sacred money archetypes, which are really like your inner money personalities. And these are really a lot of fun. We're going to play with that throughout this call here as well. So, the outline for our call here today is I'd like to just share a little bit about you about the important significance of 40 days and what is possible for you. Did you know that one of the main things that holds women back from fully stepping into what's possible and available for them right now is not money and it's not time? Does anyone have an idea what it might be? What is the main obstacle that often tends to hold women back from allowing themselves to really step into the fullness of their being? You can type that into the question box and I'll just see what is posted in there in a moment. And so, as I talk a little bit about the 40 days. So, the significance of 40 days, it is Yogi Bhajan who brought Kundalini Yoga to the West, who said it takes 40 days to change a habit, 90 days to confirm that new habit, 120 days to be that new habit, and 1,000 days for mastery. And so, with the content of the Money and Miracles program, it's obviously not just about money. It affects every area of your life. And so, whatever you're going to be picking up from our time here together, you can apply that to any area of your life. If there is a goal that you've set for yourself, a dream that you've had, and somehow you've been putting it off, waiting for one day, the answer to the question why most women hold themselves back has to do with confidence. Absolutely. That's one of the comments typed in. It actually has to do with believing that you are not ready. And believing that you're not ready often has underlying doubts and fears that you're not capable. And you're here on this call, you are drawn to the material of Money and Miracles. And so the source that you are is capable. And it is often a matter of bringing the other parts of you into alignment with that. And so 40 days, it is a matter of showing up for yourself every day, no matter what. And if you miss a day, you start again. It's about continuing this momentum. So every day you can do this with anything. I've just been going for yoga and actually just I'm setting a little game. I'm doing a game with myself that I wanted to experience 120 days, 120 days of alignment with yoga. So I'm at day 100 right now, which is an amazing experience. I've never shown up for yoga every day on that mat for 100 days before. So that's something new. But I know that when I started for the 40 days, for the content for the experiment, every day I would sit down and to just jot down the information that was coming through. It was like a divine download. And because others were expecting the email, I had to show up. So there is also something magical, as you know, that when you join in a group, when you have some accountability, when you say you're going to do something, that you actually do it and you show up for those days. So imagine if you have an intention, a goal, a dream, something that you would like to manifest. It could be a money goal, it could be a business goal, it could be any area of your life. If there is something that you would like to see created, then it starts by you making a decision, knowing that you are capable, and then bringing all the parts that may have been holding you back into alignment. And that's what we're going to play with here today. Okay, so, wow, if you just joined, welcome. So let's talk about money. You know, I find it fascinating. For many, many years, I avoided talking about money specifically. I thought it wasn't that spiritual. I thought we had other things that were more important. And I much prefer to speak about following your joy and really aligning yourself with that. Till I realized that, my goodness, there are three main areas that really, really, really take up a lot of our attention in our lives, and most of that is unconsciously. One of them being money, one of them being love, and the other one being our health and well being. And of course, they all have very similar energy. So if you decide to dive into the money area, you will find that that's going to impact your relationships. It's going to impact your well-being, and all the other way around. So this is nothing new under the sun. It's just a fun way to see when you start bringing these pieces together and things start coming into awareness, that you're going to have one of these aha moments. And all of a sudden you go, why didn't I see that before? So meet your inner money team. This is about connecting with your inner banker, your inner big shot, your inner sponsor, your inner idealist, your inner empire builder, your inner rebel with a cause, your inner hedonist, and your inner relationship creator. These are some of the names that we've given to the sacred money archetypes. And how many of you are familiar with the sacred money archetypes? I know some of you are in the program, others have read the book. Have you taken an assessment? Do you know what your sacred money archetypes are? Claire, yeah. So excited that you're here. We'll be opening the mic soon, so we have a little interaction and share. That's great. So you know what your archetypes are. You know, on the control panel is a little hand icon which you can raise, and so you can click on that if you do know what they are. And if you don't know, then well, let me just share a little bit about how this plays out. You know, when you have a team, and of course, this is interesting to notice in your friends, if you're part of a community, if you're part of a tribe, are you part of a group? Maybe you've been in a work environment, it could be in a family, friendships. When more people come together, you have your team that is being built. And if those members on the team work together well, then you can experience the synergy where the magic happens and the most amazing things that may have seemed impossible become possible when everybody contributes and adds their inspiration. So it is with your inner money team. So we all have these qualities available to us. And when you go through and take one of the assessments, you'll find out what your major money archetypes are. So who the main players are in your inner money team. And you'll also find out what the last one is on your team, the one that the qualities you least resonate with. And an interesting thing about this is that that last archetype, the one whose qualities you least identify with or resonate with, actually holds tremendous power for you to support your inner money team and to create breakthroughs. It's like a hidden reservoir of gold that you can tap into to have a breakthrough. In the moments that you find yourself maybe at a bit of a plateau, cruising along, or things are going a little bit, all of the same, that's when connecting in with your last archetype, your money archetype, can be incredibly powerful. So to give you an idea, each of these archetypes has qualities, has gifts that when they are utilized can make your interaction with money really empowering and can make it fun, and you will find that it's a joyful experience. Well, you can guess, of course, that each of those also has its challenges. And it's been really fun. In the 40-day group that is running at the moment, we've got these amazing women who are showing up for each of the days, and we have group calls. And during those group calls, the interaction is really fun, and in the Facebook group as well. The conversations that are taking place and the insights that are happening. We have a couple of, oftentimes it happens in the groups that there'll be a few who will have one of the archetypes will be very strong and another will not be. So, for example, if your inner big shot, that's your celebrity, is very present, The gift of that is that you're really great. You're a great leader. You also can help others make a great impression. And you know how to provide quality and be a center of influence. The challenge with that can be times that saving is not something that's a high priority, which for the inner banker, on the other hand, if the inner banker in you is active, then you love to save and you're really good with money. But it can be a little bit of a challenge to invest in yourself. So you may find yourself wanting to invest in a program or investing in whatever. It could be a property or something that's going to be growing your wealth. And because if it's related to investing in yourself, that's investing to create freedom, it may start kicking up some lack of trust or some secrecy or a bit of compulsion or feeling guilty or doubtful about investing. So you can imagine that when that is playing out, it creates an inner conflict. And when I've connected with the connectors, the inner relationship creators, if this is part of your one of your main players on your inner money team, then you are awesome at connecting with others and really creating relationships. And the gift in that is realizing you have amazing faith and optimism, but to realize that to connect with others is to connect with money. And the invitation for the connector is to connect with numbers as passionately and joyfully as you do with others. And so, one of the reminders always for realizing if whatever most of these are unconscious, because I would bet and guarantee that everyone who is on this call and who is joining the replay later is aware of a lot of the possible ways that you might hold yourself back to judgments that you have or had about money. So consciously you're aware of it. That's awesome. You've probably read a lot of books. You've probably taken a lot of classes and trainings. You maybe facilitated for others. But the question that is relevant here is what is holding out unconsciously? So look in your life, where are areas still muddled up? And so, for instance, the inner sponsor, just a little bit about that, is real. That's the nurturer, is great at providing value for others and is also really awesome at taking care of others. The invitation there is to care for others while empowering yourself. So this shows up in business and with money and in conversations with knowing how to set boundaries that honor you and honor others. It plays out with how comfortable you are in speaking of money, whether that would be in business agreements, arrangements, whether that is with your partner, whether that's with your family. There are all kinds of different situations where money conversations come into play, and you may find yourself feeling empowered in some and really holding back in others. It brings up so much stuff. And just imagine when that's cleared. So before we go into letting you experience a breakthrough here, I'd just like to mention a little bit about inspired, aligned action. Oftentimes you may have lots of ideas. That's great, lots of inspiration. If that inspiration is not brought into action, as in practical action steps, then they remain ideas, and you can find that you have a library of ideas, lots of notes everywhere with things that you're going to do one day, someday, maybe. Well, you may know that that's not a day on the calendar. So the challenge there can be to know what to prioritize and when to take action steps, which is why it's important to have aligned action steps. Needs to connect with what matters to you most. On the other hand, you may find that if there is not that much inspiration, but you find yourself in action and doing on a roller coaster and just constantly in movement, yeah, you may be taking lots of action steps, but is that action inspired and is it aligned with what matters to you most? Because if it's not, then sooner or later you're going to find yourself burnt out, and none of that is necessary. So when you bring what connecting with what matters to you most, your big why, And you line that up with what you must believe about yourself, tapping into what is possible for you, making decisions based on that, and then coming up with practical action steps. Take action on that. You will be amazed what is possible for you in a very short time. I've seen this happen again and again. Asking someone, okay, what is it that you would like to do? What is possible for you now? Come up with some action steps. You take them, and within hours, things start to shift. So, if you could change anything at all about your money situation, what would you change? And just sit with that for a moment. And if anyone would like to speak up, I can open your mic, then we can have a little interaction here so you can experience what's possible when you have a money breakthrough. Great. And in order to speak up, you'll need to have either a headset or a little earplugs plugged in, those earbuds that you have for an iPhone. So let's see, Kathy, I'm going to open up your mic. Hi, Kathy.
Hi,
Great to have you here.
thank you. Um, I would change the struggle, the stuckness. I feel like I've been around this horn for so bloody long and can't find the tripwire. Where's the switch? And
Mm-hmm.
I would change the resistance. I don't know where it is
Mm-hmm.
or who it is.
Yeah, great. So, so is there a specific area where, if we're talking about money, is it showing up in relationships? Is it showing up in your business, in your career? Is it showing up with money itself?
Yes, all of them.
Okay, and if you could pick just one for now, where is it? Where is it the most present? It affects everything, of course, but let's see one.
Right. Um, just the inflow. It just seems like I well, I think what significantly has shifted over time is that I used to always say I was always a great take a leap and do it and I always just say, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'll go get a job, big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now that's like not available to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
It's like the new, evidently, the new energy does not support that work harder, work longer.
Mm-mm.
And I'm, of course, a hell of a worker, which is, it's not that. It's not that. It is some obscure thing that is just, I've really cleverly hidden from myself.
Yeah. So,
I'm a good hider.
wow, let's bring the hider out. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. And so, if you knew what was keeping you stuck, what would it be? What would you say? If you knew what it was.
The closest I can get to that is that it is a part of my spiritual path, and I cannot skip over it. There's no getting around it. I've got to go through this, and I kind of think it's an experience I wanted to have.
Mm-hmm.
This roller coaster of, you know, and I
Yeah.
don't feel poor, and I don't feel poor. I'm broke, but I don't feel poor.
Mm-hmm.
It's really odd. Yeah.
Okay, so the part of the spiritual path. So, if there's an agreement in place that you may have made a long time ago, one of these that often shows up is that it is noble and even required to struggle if you are spiritual. And so, therefore, any of the programs, vows, oaths, promises, agreements that you may have ever made, which often tie back to nunnery convent experiences, whether you've had those yourself or carried them forward through your family lineage, it's literally time to drop those habits, not just
I have talked to a persona of mine, whether she's parallel life, past life, whatever. She was a nun. I also had a Tibetan monk,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I've been talking to them, working with them, trying to, like integrate them. I just still haven't found. It's like the thread. Where's the?
Yeah,
It's like I can't get past any of it. I have to integrate it all, and I don't know what that is.
right. So if that agreement that is keeping that in place, that thread that is keeping it in place, that tripwire, if it were possible, and it is, if it were
Yes.
possible for that tripwire to be uncreated all the way back to source now, knowing that you will keep the wisdom gained, would you be willing for this to be uncreated now?
Oh yeah.
And are
Oh
you
yeah.
ready for this to be uncreated now?
I am.
And are you able for this to be uncreated now?
I am.
Great. So if this tripwire is no longer available, it's to disappear, and all the resistance and the struggle and everything connected with it were gone, then what? What opens up for you?
Infinite possibilities.
Yeah, infinite possibilities. So what needs to be let go of for you to allow yourself to open up to and embrace these infinite possibilities that are really resonant with the divinity that you are? What needs to be let go of?
I don't know.
It just
I
if you did know, what would you say?
what I'm hearing is it can't be that easy.
Right. So you'd have to let go of the belief that it can't be that easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what is it about you that you need to value in order to let go of that it can't be that easy? What do you have to believe? What is it about yourself that you need to value in order to let that go?
My divinity,
Right. And what
my
does that,
creator self.
yeah, and what does that look like for you?
I think we're at the root of it actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, coming around in another way. I think this is where it's coming around this way to me. I have been working with this concept that I have always been channeling my divinity
Mm-hmm.
and believing that. Like my human self is like, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when I write or speak, and then I go back and I listen, it's like, wow, who said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's it's that final sort of fusion, I think that, and I think I've been comparing my fusion of little self and big self with external examples,
Yeah. So that's
and
an,
yet
mm-hmm.
I know, and I think what I'm working on is that this is my way, this is my example, and I'm just hardwired in, and it doesn't look other than me. It is me.
Yeah. So when you take this with you, to sit with this, what you need to value about yourself is your divinity. And that means releasing the comparison, all the
Yep.
judgments you have about that, all the doubts. These are all, the comparison is one of the days in the 40 days. It's a big one. And so, because it will bring up all the parts of where you may have played by the rules of limitation, which is another day, and the expectations that society will have of you as to what is allowed and what's not. And so let's just ask that this anything that is standing in the way of you allowing yourself to experience, express, be the divinity you are, anything that's been in the way of that to be transformed, allowing that energy to be optimized, and allowing yourself to have the experience of the uniqueness that is you expressing as the divinity that you are moving forward. So, what would be possible for you with money when you're coming from this place of alignment?
Wow, everything's possible. Uh, I could do my work. I could travel the globe. I could just give my work away like I love to do. I, that I do. I could just, it's freedom. It's the freedom.
Yeah, and so what I would encourage you to do, and we're taking a little bit more time here because I'm sure that whoever's going to be listening and on the call here or whether on the replay, this is something that plays out for a lot of women. So thank you for being the voice for this, Kathy. Really.
Thank you for hearing that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because the thing with this is that as you move forward and you say, "Wow, okay, what are some of the choices?" It's truly about, I say, let joy be your guide. Find out what is uplifting for you, what is joyful for you, and find a way to express that as only you can. And where the yeah, bringing it into alignment. I mean, if you are giving your things away, you probably have really strong nurturer energy in you, which when it comes from a place of alignment is very empowering. But when it comes from, if there's any underlying belief that you have to give it away because it's a gift that you're sharing, that's actually will start creating a tremendous amount of resentment. Yeah. Wow. So sit with that and yeah, just noticing. How do you feel the shift?
Well, I'm grinning, so
That's good.
yeah.
Love it.
I mean, I feel like I'm right there. I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know that phrase, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
I think that was created around spiritual work because
Yes.
I'm probably like looking right at it, and um, and I feel like it's Easter, and I go
Yeah.
through this dark night of the soul every Lent, every Easter, every Easter week, and I think the breakthrough is just right here, right now.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much for your time.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Kathy. Thank you for speaking up. Awesome. Keep me posted.
Will do.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Wow. Anyone else would like to share anything? If you could change anything at all about your money situation, what would you change? You just need to raise your hand if you want to speak up, and it can coach you through this. Claire. Awesome. Hi, Claire.
Hi. Just
How
putting in
are
my
you?
earbuds.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Claire is one of
Yeah.
our awesome goddesses here.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love the fog. The fog slide just showed up and I thought, "Oh, that's good. That's pretty accurate."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So if you could change anything, what would you change?
Um I guess my belief in limitation and lack, or the way in which I like to control my money situation, and that would specifically be about the challenge I have around investing
Mm-hmm.
spending, which we call investing, and especially investing large amounts, which is going to take money out of my um, my like sort of emergency savings fund,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd
Okay.
be something. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So the belief in limitation and lack. I am just really thrilled. I love how this all gets orchestrated. We're being right in this Easter energy, as Kathy was saying already too. Yeah, and here we have on the screen the fog, which I'll talk about more in just a moment. But interestingly enough, yeah, if you're finding yourself in a fog, okay, I'll reveal it now. It stands for fear, obligation, and guilt. And how is that? We're in this energy of Easter, and this
Mm,
whole cycle that we are leaving behind was based on sacrifice and struggle, lack and
mm,
limitation. And
mm,
even though many of us know on some level that we have shifted into a new reality and it is no longer the foundational operating system, we are still seeing it playing out in the world around us. It would seem as if nothing has changed, but if you were to go under the hood, you would see that everything is different. And so,
mhm,
if this belief in limitation and lack, and how it therefore it plays out in wanting to control money, if
mhm.
that
That's
were
my assumption anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty
Mhm.
good one. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, the control part loves the limitation and lack. And in order to let that go, well, we'll get there in just a second. So, in order to let this go, if limitation and lack were to disappear and you could not use it anymore, so therefore, yeah, then what?
Yeah, I'm just giggling because yeah, what I'm aware of is there's a way in which my belief in limitation and lack is really like me trying to kind of trying to outdo spirit, because it's like I'm not believing that spirit is really going to take care of me, so
Yeah,
I've got to manage my money. Like I've got to keep track of the dollar amounts, because so it's like I'm trying to outmuscle God in a way, and I'm not
yeah,
trying to outdo God, but I'm not really believing that I'm going to be held. Is really is sort of that's the big piece that I feel like is under all of this.
yeah. Yeah, and so here the thing is, what let's amp this up a little bit, if
Mm-hmm.
you're game.
Okay, I raised my hand. I'm in
Yeah,
the I'm
yeah,
in the pot. I'm in.
yeah. Exactly. So one of the days, as you know, but some on the call may not know, is that one of the days is called the God program. And the God program are all the stories, the projections, the distortions, the misperceptions of what throughout society we have made God mean. And it's not the truth of what source is. What keeps this
Mm-hmm.
program in place are lots of things, but one that really grabs you by the short and curlies, as they say here, is conform or die. You will conform by these rules or you will die. And
Mm-hmm.
how that plays out is that you will sell yourself. The prostitute archetype is at play, which in different I think Carolyn May speaks of this really beautifully, but that we all have this. And how that plays out is that we will sell ourselves, and this can be by staying in a job, this can be by staying in a relationship, this can be by doing things that you don't really want to do in exchange for money. So supposedly having your security there. And where the gift of
Mm-hmm.
this is that training your faith muscles and having faith that source has your back, your front, your inside, your outside, your upside, your downside, all of you. But it
Mm-hmm.
requires releasing any of the misperceptions and distortions and any of the ways you've been hooked into that God program, so that you can experience the truth of what source is. Yeah, so if
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
God program were to disappear, so thereby all the limitations and lack and the need to control are gone,
Mm-hmm.
then what? What would be possible for you? What would open up for you?
Well, as you were saying that, I kind of got this experience of myself just sort of like letting go and just sort of falling back, like those sort of trust games that we do at team
Yeah.
building events and things sometimes, but like a grand version of it where I was like really falling, but not in a fast way or a way that felt scary. It just felt like just leaning back and just, and then like sort of puffy clouds or pillows or giant hands or something kind of just coming up and just like got I the feeling is, oh, they got me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. So you'd be
Mhm.
held, truly held.
Yeah, right.
And so what needs to be let go of?
I guess the fear that I won't the thought is the fear that I won't be held up, the fear that I won't be supported.
Hmm.
But what I also felt or sort of heard alongside of that is like the fear that I'm not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So beautiful. What is it about yourself that you need to value in order to let go of that you're not enough, or the fear that you won't be held up or supported? What is it about
What about
yourself
myself?
that you need
Mm.
to value in order to let that go?
Well, it's interesting because one of the things that I have valued about myself is my ability to save and be sort of financially, have that sort of ability to be financially secure.
Hmm.
So, what about myself? What I need to value is um, my ability to trust and let go and um, trust and let go and trust that that spirit would hold me up. Is that something about myself that I need to value? I guess it's also
Let me ask it another way.
valuing. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Would is the source that you are, the divinity that you are, capable of holding you?
Yes.
Is the source that you are, the divinity you are, capable of fully being everything, all of you?
Yes, but and then my mind is like, oh, but this it's the source that I am that's been what's been successful um, at saving.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So therefore, there is still a separation between the source, as you define it, the source that you are, and source spirit.
I'm not getting that. Say more about that.
Okay, so if you're feeling that you're saying that the source that you are, you said that has been the part that's been really good at saving, and
Hmm.
yet you have a part in you that doesn't believe spirit will take care of you, and yet that is source,
Hmm.
then what if the separation between spirit and you being an expression of spirit were it dissolved? You're one,
I think
experiencing
that would be
yourself
a
as
really.
one.
I think that's a really good idea.
Mm.
I really like that.
Yeah, so what is it about yourself that you need to value in order to allow that in
that I'm a divine being and fully connected to source.
as source?
As source, right, exactly.
Two implies separation, slightly.
Right. Mhm. Right. Right.
Right, so let
Mhm.
yourself just breathe that in. I'm a divine being connected as source. So,
Oh,
yeah,
so then there's nothing to be afraid of.
you
Well,
got it.
at least in that regard.
Yeah. So, yeah, and as a divine being connected as source, what actions would you take when it comes to money?
Well, what I'm getting is then I can trust myself more about the decisions I make in spending if I can
Exactly.
be in that aligned place.
So, how would that impact your business?
I would have more confidence in my decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Clearer yeses and clearer nos, and less like, yeah, less fear and less, hand wringing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, feel into that for a moment now. So, as a divine being connected as source, what do you have to say about the belief in limitation and lack?
It just doesn't make any sense in a way. I mean, it's just like kind of hogwash is what came up in my mind first.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is where it's really great to use the Hawaiian ho'oponopono, where you're speaking to the source that
Mm.
you are, the spirit that you are. I am so sorry for having believed this hogwash of limitation and lack. I am so
Mm-hmm.
sorry for having allowed myself to be separate from the source I am.
Mm.
Please forgive me for buying in to the lies, the distortions, the misperceptions.
Mm.
Thank you for uncreating everything related to this all the way back to source now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you. And breathing that in. As a divine being connected as source, how do you feel about controlling money?
Well, it reshapes it from controlling to like it's a tool, like like water is a tool to flow through land.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, so
it's
you,
something that can be used, but so in that sense, it's controlled, but it's not gripping control, fear based control.
right. So you can guide it and you can intend.
Guided, right?
Yeah.
Uh huh.
So how
Uh
does
huh.
that feel?
It feels tentative and tenuous, like, oh, I've got it, but it just feels like this little string, like, oh, and I'm just like, oh, I hope I can hold on to this little string.
Yeah. And so let's just ask that any of the doubt gremlins or any of the parts in you that are like replicator programs, these are like you release something. If anyone here has ever cleared and released a limitation, a belief, and then found that it sprouted up in 10 other flavors or varieties somewhere else, then you're dealing with a
Mm-hmm.
replicator program. So let's ask that any of these replicator programs be uncreated all the way back to source, all the ways that they've been hooked into your body, all the ways that they've created habits of behavior so that you response and reaction is based on them. Let's ask that all of that be transformed, the energy be optimized, truly closing the door behind you for all the old operating systems that were based on lack and limitation, scarcity and struggle. We have an opportunity here to step through this door, close it behind you. You don't know what you're going to find there, but as the divine being connected as source that you are, and you let joy be your guide, imagine what you might create that is uplifting and joyful for you. So, are you willing to
Mm-hmm.
step through that door and close it for once and for all?
Yes, yes, yes. And I also hear the gremlin of like Kathy I think said, could it be that easy? Is it really, can it really be that easy
Yeah.
and be
Yes.
that permanent and all that? Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, and that ties into the fog, the fear, the obligation, and the guilt can often be the fear of stepping fully into your alignment. Obligation to playing by the rules of limitation means that you agree to keep playing by the rules of the tribe, your family, and the guilt that if you step free from that, that you're letting others down or betraying them or blah, 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 blah. So let's
Mm.
just
Yeah.
send all of that into divine laundry, allowing it to be transformed, optimized, and that everyone connecting in with us here may receive an experience of being the divine being you are, connected as source. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Tina. Mm. Namaste.
Yeah, thank you. So awesome. Wow. Yeah, and Kathy said that really helped me connect it as source. Yeah. We're in an amazing time where we have the opportunity to let go of a lot of the things that we took for granted, things we may never have questioned. And that's what I find really fun about how the 40 days came into being. It really was divine download. I honestly had no idea what was going to come through. And now seeing the material evolving and growing and expanding, and this field of money and miracles expanding, that everyone who connects in with it, it's like you're being uplifted. It's really joyful. And so awesome. My mum is on the call here today, and she is really enjoying it, and it's so cool. Like we're having a generational, transformational shift. Thank you, mum. Oh, so yeah, your appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well. Voltaire said that. I love this quote. And it's also really about us here. One of the things that we notice, especially as women coming together, many, many, many women have learned how to downplay, how to be, how to shut up, keep those dreams locked inside. And when it comes to celebrating your successes, it's something that we've just not been taught to do. It's like when we hear men, speaking about their successes, it can easily be called boasting or bragging. And yet, that energy of appreciation and celebration is so powerful and so important to have that in your life if you want to be able to be supported in letting your dreams become true. Because the community that you're plugged into, the family you're connected in with, the tribes that you're a part of, even if they're consciously say that they support you, unconsciously there's often an agreement that like, hey, we're in this together and you're not going to trip out, go out here because you'd be abandoning us. That's not part of the agreement. And I feel that it's absolutely crucial that we find our communities, find our tribes where celebration is absolutely encouraged and is part of the gathering, where you experience what it's like to be safe to voice your dreams, even if they seem like fantasies when you speak them out at first. It's when you connect those in with what matters to you, anything that you are wanting to create in this world, ask yourself, why is this important to me? Why does this matter? That's going to connect you in with the fuel that will keep you going in the times when it's not so easy. You need to connect in with that big why. And in order to connect in with that big why, you've got to clear up a lot of these unconscious limitations that may hold you back. And thereby being in a group where you are celebrating with one another and you get into the habit of really expressing appreciation for what you've achieved, how you have shown up, even when you didn't feel like it, but you did it, and seeing the results that that brings forth. That is what being spiritual in practical form is about. Practical spirituality, really bringing the magic into everyday living, not something that you just do in dream time. It's practical. So, yeah, question to ask yourself is, where will you be 40 days from now? Every journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Lao Tzu. You could choose to start something today that matters to you and choose to show up every day for 40 days. And the 40-day program happens to be one of the offerings that's available. I would love for you to come and join us, and you can take a look on the page innerdelight.com/group programs. The next group actually starts on May 1st in the US, 9 p.m. Eastern, and it's at 9 a.m. on Friday morning. May 2nd is the first call in the Southern Hemisphere in Perth. On the website is also a link for the different time zones. And you can check out all the content of the program there. It's really fun. It's incredibly transformational. The support in the Facebook group, you literally receive daily coaching feedback on here. If you do not have transformations while going through this program, then I'm going to call it a day. Honestly, I mean, I've seen so many things happen. It's amazing. It's impossible not to have transformations happen if you join in. But it starts by you making a decision to hop in. And so I wanted to just wrap up here. We'll see if anyone has any questions. On the page there, you will see that the program is normally $9.97. That's Australian dollars. So actually in US dollars, that's around about 900. And at the moment, if it's available until Saturday, you can actually join for only 497 Australian dollars, and that's about 460 US dollars. Now, what's not mentioned on the website, but that's available for you if you choose to go for it, is that I will offer a bonus 90-minute private money breakthrough session. This was made available for the first group who went through, and I want to extend that to you for being here on the webinar, if you're listening to it live or joining at the replay. If you sign up within the next 24 hours, then you will be receiving a bonus 90-minute private money breakthrough session, which is a really, really powerful way for you to connect with your sacred money archetypes and also to experience the money breakthroughs. We're going to come up with actually seeing where we can create some strategy for you, creating some action steps that are inspired and aligned. So, and then in the group call, we actually hold you accountable and have you share as to see which action steps you've taken and where do you need support, so that your amazingness, your ideas don't just stay an idea. That you're not just running around like chicken with the head cut off and burning yourself out exhausted. We're bringing those things together so it's inspired, aligned, what matters with you most, action steps that are connected with that. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. I'd love for you to come and join. I'm going to post this webinar replay on this page as well. So if you'd like to share with anyone, if you know anyone who might benefit from going through this, I am just so passionate about passionate women entrepreneurs like you clearing up this money crap that's been going on under the surface. Let's clear this stuff out. Let's get aligned with what matters most, have the support in place to celebrate, create results, because as each and every one of us shows up in the world. I don't know if you saw that video from Oprah and Farrell. He does a happy song. She interviewed him the other day and saw the videos that people had made around the world. He created that happy song in November last year. It went viral. People are celebrating this all over the planet. And when he saw the impact of him expressing the divinity he is by sharing this song, and how it has added happiness and joy to people's lives by him showing up, it moved him to tears, as it did me. Oh my God. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But this is why I'm so passionate about, for myself, connecting my message out in the world to as many women, and connecting you with what your message is and clearing up the obstacles so to get it out there, because you have something unique to share as the divinity you are, and whatever limitations or obstacles are in the way of letting you express that. And if money is one of the things that's hooking you back, it's not the money, it's the underlying stories connected about it. You know that. Unconsciously, we clear that up as each of us shines our light brightly in the world and it ripples out into the environment. Just imagine the field, that the possibilities that we can create for ourselves and others. That is what keeps me moving on days when things are not going so easily. And it's the fuel, my big why, connecting others with what lights you up. So I thank you for being here. And I saw, I think, oh, I see Christine, you hopped on. You might have gotten the time mixed up. Well, the replay will be available. If you have any questions, anyone like to comment or add anything you would like to know before we wrap up? We're at our time here. Then just raise your hand or type it into the question box. And I would love to see you joining us. If not now, then when, right? Where will you be 40 days from now? You can do this, and we are here to support you. So thank you for your time. As you go forward, let joy be your guide. It is the most phenomenal navigation system that you will ever have. And the beauty is that it is tuned and optimized uniquely for each and every one of us. So what uplifts you may not uplift someone else, but please do give yourself permission to trust that. Follow those joy sprinkles and allow yourself to receive the support. And as Claire said so beautifully, take this with you. I'm a divine being connected as source. And as such, what am I choosing to create today? What am I allowing myself to receive today? What am I allowing myself to be today? Thank you, ladies. Until the next time, many joyful blessings.